Be present in over 150 experiences covering every genre imaginable. Virtual Presence Productions.
So other than you, I use fake names for everybody. I don't want to piss anybody off. Okay. Our Pete Carroll guy, I can't use a fake name for him, is Yoda. That's what I called him. Got the Dodgers guy, the Clippers guy, the Arizona State guy. But anyway, all right, we're on. I'll explain all this in a second. What this is. Welcome to Virtual Presence Podcast. This is number 15. It is March of 2025. We've been doing this for a year and 3 months now. For about a year, I've wanted this guy on here because nobody has been more integral to the success or failure of this company, other than me, than this dude. And last year, he's like, "Well, I can't talk about this shit on camera." But as of today, you kind of can. Because he used to work with Bally and FanDuel, and he's no longer at Bally and FanDuel. Now I didn't even ask you this, but do we talk about anything that's in the works, or we just wait until that gets, because you might have another opportunity?
Yeah, I mean nothing's certain yet.
Nothing's certain, yeah. But he gets fired better than anybody I know. Let me just put it that way. Within hours, he was already working the angles and was ready to go to the next thing. So that's amazing. And I've said this to you off air. The amount of friends and real friends you have is crazy. I don't know if it's a sports thing, because it sure as hell isn't that way in showbiz. But you have a tight friend group that legit are honest. And they tell you how it is, and they help you out if they can, and they don't necessarily. It's not transactional. I think that's the other thing. Yeah. Which I could not understand at the beginning of our relationship. I kept waiting for you to be like, "Bill me," because I didn't know. Wait, what the fuck why are you being so nice to me? Right. So let me rewind and talk about how we got together, and then I'll talk about some. Actually, let me just get the virtual presence stuff out of the way. We are waiting to hear back from the Dodgers. As to looking at the footage of Ohtani and spring training and all that kind of stuff, which they're going to release in Japan. But I believe if a certain person sees it, it will go further than that. Still waiting. Okay, we got opening day here in a week. Everybody's really busy. Nothing is more back burner than this for everybody else. The next thing that's up is I have a meeting next month with your former employers at FanDuel. However, every time it gets delayed, you wonder if the person that delayed it will still be there, because they are in flux more than I think any company could be in flux. But I still believe that a broadcaster is a better route for this than just an individual team, because you can get access to so much stuff. Yeah. That's how I feel about that. And then the third and final thing is we're waiting for the dates for OTAs for the Raiders, at which point we'll be shooting something for them. Those are the three big leads we have right now that we know of. All of which came from him. And I got to rewind a little bit. Did I ever tell you what happened with me in the NFL? With a friend that kind of took my stuff and just said, "Hey, this is mine." Did I tell you the start of this and why I have PTSD with you and I keep asking you weird questions?
Probably not.
Very quick. No need to continue to get into it, other than it has greatly affected me mentally. Basically, I went back to Columbus, right? That's my hometown. Go Bucks. Go. Let me see your shirt, dog.
No, I got nothing to say.
Yeah. So what? He's got a USC shirt on right now. I go back there. They friends of my old radio station get me in with the Columbus Clippers, which is the Guardians AAA affiliate, and shoot this cool stuff. And I'm producing it constantly on YouTube, showing it to everybody, trying to get all my friends. Somebody share it. And one of my friends goes, I'm going to share it. I'm like, sweet, please do. A week later, he calls me and says, "We have a meeting at the NFL." And I said, "I'm sorry, sir. I didn't know who's we. I didn't even know what he did." He was one of my really good friends, right? And long story short, he was producing and directing this test that I was going to be shooting. Yet he had never picked up a camera. He doesn't have any of the equipment to even view what, and it became a huge issue. Ends up
Slick move.
it was a kinda, other than our kids were super close and it got ugly. I forgave him and tried to give him a percentage of the production fee and tried to find a way. And then when the Super Bowl fell through, they ghosted my family. So that was a month before I met you. So I was in this. Oh, and also what I did end up getting paid from the NFL, he took 30% of it. So it's like
Repeat until rich.
Oh goodness, man. And then when he saw that there wasn't anything else to make, he never spoke to us again. So that's what got me to go, okay, I got to go through every contact I have to try to find a way to show this footage and go from there. That's when JD came along. JD introduced me to Roman introduced me to you, and here you go.
Yeah, you were a little leery when we met. You were kind of sitting back and like, all right, what's this guy going to tell me?
I didn't care what you said. I just wanted to know what the roles were. Do you know what I mean? Like, we've had this conversation before. It's like, okay, you're helping me. I don't expect it to be for free, but 10% of zero is still fucking zero. So I don't know what the fuck we're talking about here. And I didn't know what skill set you would have in. I'm looking at it as a production budget, right? I need the graphics guys. I need the cameraman. And I'm like, okay, I kind of understand producer's kind of a wiggly word, but it implies some skin in the game. So let's just define what the fucking skin is so we can do this. By the way, we haven't even talked about this. This is George Wentz beer stein that I brought. It's cleaned. Do you want to put it? You want to put your coffee in there because, well, that's one way to do it. But like, seriously, that has been on the wall over there for 9 years. And I said, there's one guy that I'm going to bring this out for.
I'm honored.
No, seriously, dude. Like, I'm a little. I mean, that's the one. So yes.
And I've had a beer in the morning before.
But it's. I'm not feeling like it. Yeah, Norm was awesome enough to come out and George come out and do a thing for me. We actually did a little Norm bit. I'm like, Norm! That kind of thing. We did a whole bit. I called him George, though. I wanted to be respectful. He's the greatest guy. He's such a good dude. So we get to the point where I meet you. It was March 15th. Might not know that. It was March 15th last year. It's been a whole year. And you were there, and JR, that's when he took off the headset and looked at me like I was Harry Potter.
John Reynolds,
Yeah, that fucker had no idea. He couldn't understand the magic bean I just put on his head. But what you might not know, I've never told you this, you went silent for a couple weeks. And so I talked to Roman and JD, I'm like, you need to email John because this is a back burner thing. And they're like, we're not going to do that.
Oh, really?
Either if he's interested, he'll email you, move on. And I'm like, oh, no, that's not how any of this works. So I wrote to JD, I said, I'm so sorry, but I have to kind of go over here because this will disappear. And the NHL season was ending, NBA season. So I did the whole Google rocket reach, try to find.
Oh, that's when you tried to find out information about me.
That, and I found your email, and then I cold emailed you just like, hey.
Oh, wow.
I had to completely cold email you, and I felt awful doing it, but I was like, dude, he's got other shit going on. You kind of got to work it a little bit. You never responded. And I went, fuck.
I don't remember that.
All right. And then 1 week later, I did it one more time. And of course, within that week, I'm just like, fuck, this seemed like such a perfect thing. You finally respond to, yeah, dude, opening day. Like, I'm really busy. I'm so sorry. And then you hooked me up with Mike Connolly, and then everything kind of went forward. Here's my question to you. You hooked me up with Mike Connolly to cover your own ass just in case I was a complete idiot in the arena. I have to imagine you were worried about giving somebody you didn't know media access. Like, I feel like that was kind of crazy. Because I could have been full of shit.
Partly, but like Mike's one of my mentors in this business.
Okay.
So, and he trusts me. And if I bring something to him, he'll look at it and look at it objectively and tell me if he thinks there's something there or not. So I thought there was something there, kind of like what we're talking about right now with the access with the teams.
Right.
And what I think the strategy was at that time and maybe what it is for FanDuel now. I saw like, this is it. Like this could be what they're looking for. So I wanted Mike to see it because Mike then has access to the higher ups.
Okay.
That can kind of deal with it nationally. So
Right.
I wanted him to see it. The issue was, and Mike was like, yeah, I think there's something there, but he had so much other stuff to deal with that he wasn't gonna be hands on with it.
It also wouldn't have benefited either of you because you guys are in broadcast. This would have been a direct-to-consumer thing.
Right.
It would have just been a feather in your cap, maybe.
But that was a big goal for us to build. Direct to consumer.
Right.
It was a huge thing. It still is.
It still is.
So yeah, that's why I showed it to him, and like, you know, and he'll tell me like, yeah, there's nothing there, or, you know, okay, how do you scale this or whatever. And he wasn't, you know, you remember he was lukewarm on it. He was okay, but he had, I took it as like he had so much other stuff to deal with that, you know, he wasn't going to dive in with both feet.
And you're thinking way bigger than I am. I was just thinking, here's a guy who said he shot this. I don't know if he really shot this, right? I'm going to hand him a media pass.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you guys were watching me really close.
Yeah,
but
remember I told you that don't fuck up.
Yeah, especially at the Clippers.
Stupid.
Yeah. That's funny, at the Intuit Dome, I was in my brain thinking they're all sitting in the truck looking at my ass, sitting courtside, getting shit I'm not supposed to get. However, that was a whole different reason I did that.
They're okay with it.
Right. But it was kind of a, thank God you did that, right? Because I needed to be able to prove myself to somebody other than the people at the NFL. Yeah. NFL knew what I did, right? Because no matter what my friend said he was doing, they knew I did literally everything.
Well, and that's kind of like, you know, being in the business as long as I've been in, and like the position I was in there, where I worked with those teams, I had enough trust with the teams that I felt pretty comfortable. Like, okay, yeah, I can get a pass, no big deal, like game access, as long as I communicate with them. Hey, this is what this guy's going to do.
Right.
It's not for broadcast.
Right.
It's not for digital release. It's just kind of a test.
Right.
And they're like, okay, that's fine, sure. You know, thanks for letting us know.
Okay, so you did that with the Kings and the Clippers.
Yeah,
for sure.
I let them know. And they're like, yeah, okay, that's cool. And then I'm like, you know, we'll show it to you at some point.
Right.
And you can tell us what you think. You know, and that's kind of where that led to those meetings.
Right. So then,
teams.
so then we go to the summer, and I mean, I guess it was a test for me as well. I knew NBA would work because that's obvious. I did not think that hockey would work, but holy shit, did it work up against the glass way better. It's funny because
it was eye-opening.
Yeah, because let's say you're shooting. There's a reason there's holes in the glass. It's because on a normal lens, you can't. There's scratches. There's shit everywhere.
Right.
But on this lens, you get to look around, so it doesn't bother you at all, and you're suddenly present right on the glass. I'm stunned at how well that worked. Anyway, you put all that together, and then we start setting up these meetings, and you did something strange, which is you set up a meeting with Spectrum and Amazon. And we had lunch in between the two, and I think that's when I was like, dude, why are you being so nice? This is awesome, but I don't see the end game. And I'm speaking for you. I'll let you speak. I talk too much anyway. But what you did, you said, listen, this doesn't hurt me to be able to reintroduce myself to people, to talk to my old friends, to show them this cool thing.
Yeah.
It's beneficial to both of us right now.
Yeah, and I felt like I had taken it to FanDuel and showed it to them. I'd shown it to a couple of our teams.
Right.
And my feeling was like, again, I've been in this business 35 years. I know a lot of people.
Right.
I know people at Amazon. I know people at Spectrum well. And I just felt like, if they want to see it, great. If they can do a deal with you, great. Go for it. I think this is great. I'm all for like trying to push the technology and the business forward, whoever it is. And it was no skin off, my back if they ended up doing something with you.
Right, and it was also, again, it was another option for you to like shake some hands and hey, by the way, remember, because you don't always get to do that once people splinter and go other ways. And
companies have different objectives, what they're trying to do. And FanDuel, like at that point, we were still Bally's, but we were trying to come out of bankruptcy.
Right.
So the timing wasn't great for us to take on something like this.
Right.
Amazon, pretty cutting edge.
Right.
Trying to move the needle all the time. So I'm like, okay, if we get in front of them and they can see it, and I think when we got there, like the response they got, I mean, they must have brought in 15, 20 people to look at that.
Yeah. But then they kind of went dark.
Yeah, and again, like, you know, they have, I mean, look at what they're going through right now. Not going through, but like, you know, NBA, and like they're growing, you know, and it's not really what their business is right now, but
it isn't, but
maybe it will at some point.
Yeah, in my estimation, let me rewind. So, I was still in the leery PTSD, like this isn't defined. I don't know how to handle this help. I want you to have a percentage of. I want you to have a role here, but I'm nobody.
Like me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
of course.
And you and I talked about that, and I was like, okay, well, like if we get to that point, that would be great, and we'd love to have that conversation. But like we're not there,
right? But what I did not understand, and it wasn't until I met the guy at the Dodgers, the guy at his Arizona State. It wasn't until I met them and heard the way they talk about you that I went, "Oh wait, these are just good guys that are trying to do a solid, and they aren't 100% transactional. They assume I'm a good guy, and I wouldn't just shit all over you. They've made that assumption, obviously." I mean, I guess I'll prove it when I can prove it. And by the way, the other reason I wanted to do this last year was as my own way of saying this is for the journey, the Guinness Book of World Records longest video blog. It'll have a number. It will be cemented in time. It will always be there, and you can always go back and go, "Hey, asshole! One. Yeah, but hey, I saw you. You said this. It's on tape. I'm a big believe in accountability, right? I do not lock entries. I do not erase entries. They're all numbered. You'd see a big hole if it was erased. I mean, sometimes if ex-wives are involved to help, you might just speak for them. It was like I don't think you have to worry about that. But I just wanted to plant my flag and say how thankful I am that for whatever reason you've decided you've gone and we haven't even gotten to the above and beyond shit. So you introduced me to the Spectrum peeps, right?
Yeah.
And that guy says, all right, and they give me access to Lakers Media Day.
Yeah. And just to interject here, and Spectrum, I worked there for 3-4 years when it launched, and the whole thing with Spectrum, it was written into the contracts with both teams, the word access. That they had to get access because that's what the whole network was kind of based on, to be able to do those types of shows, being embedded with the teams, and both teams agreed to it.
Right.
So that's when I'm like,
both teams.
Yeah, Lakers
and Dodgers. Then yeah.
And I'm like, so that's when I'm like, okay, look.
Right.
And they do a fantastic show, Backstage Lakers, Backstage Dodgers, which you can sit there and binge watch for hours.
Right.
If you're fans of those teams, even if you're not, because it's so eye-opening to see that type of access.
And it's the exact thing that this is perfect for.
It's kind of what this is, and they knew this.
And
going to evolve.
Right, and to jump ahead, when I did finally show what I shot with Lakers Media Day, everybody was like, this is Backstage Lakers 2030. This is crazy.
2.0.
This is different level. And it started this loop.
They got that right away.
They got it immediately. It was just a matter of, okay, now what's next? And then, of course, that guy doesn't work there anymore. And we couldn't get it in front of the Lakers.
And kind of like with the whole industry, with the regional sports and everything, they're evolving too. They're going through the changes that FanDuel's going through. So, the timing from us doing this isn't perfect because of the industry. But the industry is going to come out of this, and it's going to be redefined.
And
it just hasn't happened yet.
We'll have been there this whole time.
We hope,
with footage that you can't fake. And this started this loop that you've experienced, which is right after you shoot something and put a reel together and watch it, you're like, oh, okay, this is different. This will change everything. That LeBron footage, walking down the hall and him talking to the camera, is next level. And you're like, I felt bad having it to myself. I was like, oh, this belongs to the fans. This is weird. And you're like, here's going to go. And then the problem that comes up is, how do you get it to actual decision makers? Because at every single one of these companies, there's a level, and it's not low level. We're talking about somewhat high level people. All they do is block you. Their job is literally and I'm not sure how anything ever gets done. Right? Like that's where I'm going. Like, we couldn't even get people at FanDuel.
Yeah.
Right?
And again, like going through or, doing what going through what they're going through, you kind of understand, like, okay, look, they're trying to stay in business right now. So I kind of get that. Like we mentioned with the Dodgers, opening day.
Right.
Why didn't I get back to you? I had opening day with baseball.
Yeah.
That's a big deal. We have to make sure that the game coverage is
way more important.
Right.
I completely understand.
It's that is one of the challenges with this, is catching them at the right time and striking, when the iron's hot, literally. And getting someone to take a leap of faith. But like you and I have talked about this, like, and I know you've shot a bunch of this stuff with these teams, and I've told you, like, when they see their own stuff, that the stuff you showed them, like, got their attention, but when they see their own stuff, they're like, okay, hey, wait a minute, this looks really good, and that's our team. It triggers something else.
Except with the Clippers, it didn't. Right? That's my concern. The best I've ever shot. Period.
But again, what are the Clippers going through? What are they doing? Well, they opened this amazing new arena, and that was 110% their focus, which it should be.
Right.
I do think we can go back to the Clippers at some point.
Okay.
I just think, like, again, it's the timing of it.
By the way, you know what occurred to me in one of the walks where I'm thinking of everything? The Clippers footage is amazing because I have zero business being that close to the bench and being on the court. So there's no way I'm going to get that again. However, if you're Ballmer, would you let me sit next to you for a quarter?
Yeah.
Right? Wouldn't that be incredible? Even if you don't like the Clippers, you know who Ballmer is, right?
Right.
To sit next to him for 5 minutes,
watch a game,
and look around and look over at him and hear what he's saying and talk. Dude, that's a weekly bit that everybody would start talking about. Newscasters would like that. They would go, dude, have you seen this? Ballin' with Ballmer bit? Holy shit! But how do you get it to the man so he can see it? And if you can't do it, I sure as fuck can't do it.
Well,
we're
trying, but it's like I said, you got to get lucky, and you got to get them on the right day. And I think a lot of it too is like, hey, it needs to kind of be their idea. Because they're the ones who's going to take it upstairs, and they're going to hang their neck out there, which I understand, and you and I don't care.
Well, but it's not like the product is pretty impressive. Like, we've never had one person.
But it goes back to what you said about you. Like, how did I know you were a good guy? How did I know you weren't going to screw us over?
Test me.
They don't know that, and maybe they don't know enough about me to know that I wouldn't do that. But that's where the trust comes in.
Well, but I guess that's true. That is true. That is 100% true. But I also think it's a contract.
It's like when I was starting out in this business. Working in the regionals, and I was doing a lot of high school football.
Right. This is early 90s, right?
Yeah. Okay. And high school administrators, you couldn't get them to commit to anything because all they care about is, I don't say all they care about, but they care about their pension, not getting fired.
Okay.
So they're not going to hang their neck out for anything because they don't want to risk drawing any attention on themselves to get them in trouble. So, like, hey, can we interview the quarterback? Oh, no. You got, like, they're not going to do it. It's easier just to say no. Yeah, they don't know, like, is he going to flash a gang sign or like whatever? It could be anything. But it's easier just to say no and not have to deal with it than it is to kind of, be progressive.
So, at what point is the quality of the broadcast ever come up to them, or do they just not care?
What's in it for me? What's in it for them is kind of like, well, and I used to go to high schools and be like, hey, we want to televise your game,
right?
But can you kick it off at 7:30?
Mm-hmm.
Well, no, we already had the program is printed and everything. Like, okay, and we'd still broadcast the game. Well, it's going to affect our concession stands, and we make money off of that. Okay. Yeah, okay, I get it. There may be, but still, family members are going to go to the game.
Yeah.
And how many thousands of people are going to watch the game? And maybe one college recruiter sees one kid playing that night, and he gets a college scholarship offer because his game was televised. They don't see that.
See, that's interesting because you keep saying how they don't want to put their neck out on the line here. However, I would think in these positions under somebody as big as Ballmer or an owner or something like that, you should be anyway looking for something. Because, I mean, the guy at NFL Media, he was the golden child.
Yeah.
Dude, when he brought that to them, everybody was like, good job, dude. This is awesome. And he was as heartbroken as I was when the merger did. By the way, have you heard about the NFL Media merger shit? It was going to be Disney ESPN, and it was like that for 6 months. It never went through, and then it fell off, and Paramount came in, and Paramount was going to take NFL Media and offer, and then that fell away. It's back to ESPN again, $2 billion. I mean, for NFL Media. So until all that's figured out, that part of this is gone. But he was the golden dude. Everybody's like, way to go. He took my reel to New York, and they were like, pat on the back, let's go to the Super Bowl. It was all this wonderful shit. Was he that rare? I feel like everybody's looking. You were, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, like, again, I keep saying, like, I think we're close. I know. We've said that for a long time. I think we're close. It's just someone's got to take a leap of faith. We've talked about what we've done on the college side with SC.
Right.
And I think with the, like we're talking about, with the NIL programs.
Right.
Like, that's kind of an untapped...
Oh, so we're trying to talk to USC about shooting the same kind of thing with their team. Not the Buckeyes. The Trojans.
But it works for those types of teams who are going to, try to get money from donors.
Right. Right. It's going to work with the top more than anybody.
Right.
It could be something that is specifically for the donors. It could be something, there's a bunch of ways to do it, honestly.
Right. But I think, we've pinpointed that it's the access part that makes it unique.
This is why, to me, a broadcaster like FanDuel or Amazon or whatever, in my mind, all they offer is the access, which isn't much when you're a one-man crew.
No.
Even if it's not me, it's not asking a lot. You agree to the access and the distribution, which basically doesn't cost you too much. The sponsors come in and pay for everything else. This is the easiest business model, honestly, ever. But you need a commitment, and you need a commitment for a while. And that's the other thing. What Apple's doing right now, they're paying for everything and paying for access, and it's not costing the NFL and NBA anything. It's the opposite. But they're releasing one thing every 9 months or something. They're just doing like tech demos to get you to buy their headset. Whereas what I'm saying is you can release this content every day. Give me a shoot a week with multiple people. Oh my God, you could. And if you commit to it, people are going to keep putting those headsets on, and they're going to keep sitting with Ballmer at the arena or whatever it is. It'll start a format, and it'll start to log roll. Which is, at the end of the day, I just want the format to succeed, because 360 didn't. And that's why I wanted you to watch that reel that I just did, because one of the guys at the Dodgers that we want to see it was burned on VR video 10 years ago. Because, NFL embraced it, a whole bunch of people embraced it, people spent millions and millions and millions. The end product, it was so bad in headset, nobody did it. They looked at it one time, they went, this is awful.
Do you think they think it's, because we say VR,
right?
But it's not really VR.
Right.
Do you think they get it confused? Because if you watched that Dodgers series in Japan, you saw they did have VR replays.
Right.
And they were, I thought, awful.
CG.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I wonder if they get it confused. Like, oh yeah, that doesn't, why would
Sure. I mean, but that's the problem. How do you define it? Because it only works in a VR headset.
Right. And you got it. Again, that's why we always you got to just put the
until it's this,
right.
Which I don't know if you followed, but these are the Meta Ray-Ban glasses, right? So if I click this right now, I am recording.
That's crazy.
Isn't this crazy? You see the light, obviously. Yeah. I'll put that up in the middle. But it's awesome. I got these specifically so when I'm on shoots, if I can ever fucking share anything, it'll be a cool way to show the behind-the-scenes footage, and my hands are free. And it's kind of neat because you see the camera and you see what I'm doing. It's a cool thing on TikTok or whatever. The next level of these, which I said is early 27, which seemed like forever ago, it actually will show what I did with my fingers. It's already there. You're going to see stuff here, video, and then as I was trying to explain to people, that flat video that's floating in front of you, you say immersive or you do a finger gesture, and boom. Now it covers these eyes, and you look around, and it's exactly what I'm shooting. And when it's this little, everybody's going to understand it. How do we get in ahead of time?
It's going to be like whatever Apple Watch.
Yes.
You're just gonna have.
It's gonna be an iPhone.
Right.
Honestly, it's gonna be your iPhone. Or you'll have your iPhone in your pocket, and it'll just be. You won't ever be doing this anymore. It'll all be floating ahead of you. So how do you get in ahead of time? And that's the problem. Is somebody's got to do it early. I want it to be virtual presence. I want that to be the term, because if that's the term, no one can steal it. Really, they can be the copy of it. Oh, we're alternative presence. But still, if we get somebody to do it first, and then teams copy that, we're in. It's over.
But that's why I think it is. Like, they see virtual reality, like, I've seen that. That looks like shit.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, but it's not. It's
And
is this the Otani
This
baseball?
is the Otani ball. I was going to tell you, that is...
I talked to the person at the Dodgers, and I told him, like, hey, all I know is we got the money shot at the end.
Did you tell him what it was?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because...
And he just laughed.
Well, I mean, he saw it.
Oh, yeah.
He'd already seen it.
I go, but we got that money shot at the end. It's like, that's all that matters.
You haven't even seen it yet. But I'll tell you why this means so much to me, and it's because it was the first time I've felt lucky.
Yeah.
Meaning... I mean, listen, I got the great shot of LeBron or whatever, but that was me being kind of a badass and going in and being in the right position, and even the shot behind Otani to be in, but that took me, right? Or,
Yeah.
But him happening to forget that ball, realizing it, and turning around and handing it to the fucking camera, dude. So I sat in that hotel room, $1,000 poorer, going,
That's the ball.
This was, and to me, I'll never sell it in a million years. I'll grab it. I'm not trying to keep it pristine. No, this was the moment. It felt like there was a turn, and just maybe we'll have some lucky things happen now.
If that ever does, and this leads to something, we're gonna get Shohei to sign that and say thank you very much.
Well, yeah, I would love for him to know what. Well, then I'd have to fucking keep it in.
But what I loved about the Dodger thing, and again, I was talking to the Dodger guys. I said. Well, I know he knows perfect English now.
Yeah,
because I'm watching this going like, okay, he understands everything.
Oh wait, so you did talk to the guy at the Dodgers this week?
Yeah.
Oh, I texted him on Monday. He hasn't texted back.
I talked to him on Tuesday.
Oh, so I guess he just figured you would relay it to me, but you didn't.
Yeah. No, he. I mean, again, opening day. That's
Yeah.
what he's knee deep in. And I told him like, hey, we really want someone to look at this. He goes, no, he has to look at it. He goes, like, I thought it was great.
Okay, so he meaning. The guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
He says he has to look at it.
Okay, good. Okay, that's good. That's really good. Okay, so you might think I have a life outside of this. No.
No, I know. I'm sorry. I should have mentioned it to you, but yeah. Sorry.
Okay, that's a good piece of information. The guy that we're talking about is a guy that is big across a couple sports, and I had to make a reel specifically for him that included everything. Because we need him kind of see, the Pete Carroll footage or the LeBron footage or the Otani. Like, we want him to see a little bit of everything. And also, he was the person that got burned by 360 video. So I needed to make it. And what was amazing is I found it was called NFL Immersed in 2016 when they did this. And I was able to, project it so it works in VR180. And it's the exact quality you would see in your headset. John, you can't imagine how bad it looks. Like, you can't imagine. And then I cut to the exact same scene, but with what we're doing. And again, it's not just the resolution and the 180. It's because I am mobile. There are so many people that are so risk averse because they don't want to fuck up a live event. I get it. Like, imagine if I'd screwed up all that media day footage because my dumbass was with a gimbal. But I had to believe that I wasn't going to mess up the opportunity. Whereas, if you're another company, you're going to put sticks down. You're going to want to monitor. You're going to need a crew.
Right.
And, you got to have the oomph to say, no, I've done this enough. I could do it blind, which you basically are with this thing. So, got the niche. We're right there. So it's just a matter of things coming to fruition. And then the other thing, Yoda, that's what I call this other guy that, again, I could probably say his name, but I just want to be careful not to upset anybody and make them feel like they committed to something they didn't commit to. Apparently, according to Yoda, I will be shooting training camp with the Raiders. Yeah. I guess it's end of May or early June. So, but until I've spoken to anybody but Yoda, it's so hard to hear that and believe it, right? I don't believe anything.
We know not to count on anything.
Well, I mean, this is even more than not count on anything. If it wasn't for the fact that I actually met Pete Carroll, I got to show him the stuff, and Carroll was really cool with me. At some point, I do need you to see the footage of him going, "Will you back the fuck off?"
I thought I saw in the one reel where he like came up to you and he's like, "Are you always here?"
He smiled, yeah, right. Yeah. He was.
You cut off it or dissolved off.
Yeah, I did dissolve a little bit quicker, and I did apologize to him later, and I was like, "Man, but he said, "Oh, I was just being an asshole.
Right.
So we're totally cool."
But he saw the finished product and he realizes now why you were there.
Oh, he actually hasn't seen the finished product.
What was that shot? The picture you took of him with the glasses on. What was he looking at?
He was looking at the reel I made for him before I shot anything.
Okay, so
that was him. So he hasn't seen it. I mean, I think he's here tomorrow, but I don't. There's really no reason to like sit him in a chair and have him sit down for 10 minutes and look at himself. Like I don't want to bother him anymore. Like he's gonna be like, yeah, I get it. We're gonna do this. He seems like a very busy guy. He's the head coach of the fucking Raiders. Like,
opening day, and for baseball teams and for NFL teams, draft.
That's right. End of next month. That's all they're
diving
about.
Into. Right. It's
like until that draft is over, I don't want to hear the name Virtual Presence at all. Did our guy, the Dodgers, say anything about next Monday, opening day? Did you even mention it? Or
opening day is Thursday. It's tomorrow.
Oh, shit. I thought it was Monday the 31st.
No, it's not.
Oh, well, then that's not going to happen.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but like I said, they have so many ceremonies before games.
Right.
Like there's going to be a ceremony where they get the World Series rings. There's going to be a ceremony where Ohtani gets his MVP award. So, that's fine.
Yeah.
We'll be okay.
Yeah.
Again, like I said, it's hitting him at the right time. And he's got to get this one guy to look at it. And but he did acknowledge that it was really cool. It's like I really liked it.
The reason that's cool is because this was a guy who spent 13 hours in that tent.
Yeah.
Okay, like this is what I one of the hardest things to deal with is explaining how to cut this stuff to people that are in production or were on the set, right? Like, that was a long day. You didn't give a fuck I don't care who's up here, can this day end? We're doing the same thing over and over for 13 hours. So then, instead of making a quick 2-minute reel, I made a 16-minute piece.
Right.
And he sat through the whole thing.
Yeah, I sat through it too.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, come on, let's go. I get it. But that's because I'm in the business and I've seen it before.
And I kept saying, I said it to him, I said it to the guy at the Dodgers. I'm like, just pretend you're a little 10-year-old kid who loves Ohtani.
And that's why I think cutting it back to whatever 4 minutes, whatever 5 minutes, whatever you cut it to, for that person to look at.
Oh, for the other person.
Is going to be better because it's like, okay, I get it.
Well, for the other person, it's
literally. You can make it longer if you want.
It's 15 seconds.
Right.
It's 15 seconds of LeBron. It's 15 seconds of Shohei. It's 15 seconds. You know what I mean? It was just a big LA kind of reel, because I wanted to make sure he was never bored.
Right.
And understood. Oh, this company has done a ridiculous amount of things. Right. Like from the Rams. So it's the Rams, the Kings, the Clippers, the Lakers, the Dodgers. Shit. Like who's missing?
And no one's committed to it.
Right.
Yeah, that's that part.
All the teams I just said, other than the Rams, that's because of this guy.
Yeah,
it's holy shit. That's why I've won.
And we're gonna try, hopefully track and field, and
we want
to talk about golf. We want to talk about tennis.
It's so obvious. Once one, it takes off.
We talked about entertainment too.
Yeah.
The person with the Dodgers we're talking about, I've known for 35 years.
Wait. The person I haven't met, you've known for 35 years?
No, the person you did meet.
Oh, yeah. That guy. You guys, he's one of the people in this triangle that seems to be...
Right. So, he and I go back years. And so, he knew, I didn't say he knew, but the fact that I came to him, he was willing to look at it. Right. And I kind of know how he is. He's a very creative... what you're doing is like right in his wheelhouse.
Okay.
So I knew there'd be interest. It's just again finding the right time.
You did this with it feels like Petros, right?
Yeah.
It feels like I got you. Let me help you out kind of thing.
As far as
didn't you help out Petros get his first job at
Yeah. So I was the first one to
radio sportscaster here in LA.
Yeah. You can blame me. Myself and another friend of mine. He got Petros on the studio to do analyst work for college football. and then he was in charge of studio. I was in charge of live events, and I had we were looking for a college football analyst, and I got Petros in as a candidate for the back then it was Pac-10 game of the week, which was a national. And so I talked to my buddy, and I go, "You think Petros be interested?" Like, yeah, absolutely. Like, can you get him a demo? I'm like, sure. So brought him in, and we had maybe I don't know, 8, 10, 12 candidates, and Petros was like, he was so good that they were like, he needs to do it again. Like they didn't believe he could be that good.
Right.
And so he came in, did it again, and nailed it. And what was interesting was it came down to like Petros and maybe 2 other people, and another very good friend of mine who used to intern for me and now runs Fox Sports, like all the production. He was going to be one of the producers on the game, and we're like, well, what do you think? And he goes, and he said something like, I always resonate with me. He goes like, we've always done like the safe bet. And he's like, this is something different. He's different. And I'm like, dude, you're right. Let's go with him.
Yeah.
So we went with him, and he was a breath of fresh air.
Right.
And he does it his own way,
Yep.
and he's true to himself. But yeah, so yeah, I helped get Petros onto that, get him that opportunity, and then he did it all himself.
Yeah.
But I've always done stuff with him. I'll write I'll contribute content to his radio show. I'll write pieces for him, or I do the Formula One report for him.
Right.
And it's all just an act. It's kind of like my
alter ego.
No, I'm his alter ego, but it's like
no, you're alter. Like this is a different
it's
part of you.
Like it's you're almost like writing comedy.
Yeah.
So you write it for him to deliver.
Right, I see what you're saying. Yeah,
And,
but it's not something you usually get to do, right?
No,
it's not
it's
a fun.
It's creative.
And
remember when you asked me like, why are you doing this? And I go, because
it's fun. You're building up instead of
a lot of stuff I was doing is like it's contracts, it's this and that. No, this is fun. This is like the fun part of production, the creative part, and I kind of want to like get back into that.
Yeah. No, I totally understand that.
So, but no, I mean, we should follow Petros around. A day in the life of Petros, people would watch.
I think that would be an incredible video, right? Like, I think, well, just in general, like podcasts or a radio show or the behind the scenes of a TV production. Like, that shit is really interesting. It's not to us, but it is to the people that have never gotten to do it.
Right.
Like, I remember when I was on radio, doing talk radio, when somebody would come into the studio, it'd be... And you could feel this weird magic that it was just work for us. And I remember, oh yeah, this is weird. This is it's magic to see how it's made.
Right. Yeah.
I'm in the car, but then I'm here. Oh, it's.
I remember when I was started in the business, we were doing. We had the Lakers back then, and we'd always like come on the air with like a big. Aerial of like the forum,
Yeah.
And I was watching it at my apartment or whatever. Some buddies and like, oh, you guys get a helicopter for every game? Yeah, every game. You an idiot? It's on tape. What are you talking about? And then I realized that
they don't know that.
know.
Right.
They get a helicopter for every game. No, dude. So yeah, it's how things are made.
How it works. Yeah. So there's no way this doesn't work. It's just a matter of the right people seeing it. So
I hope so.
It's the story of our lives. Well, I didn't even talk about how bad the year ended. So, so we meet the one person at the Lakers, and then she doesn't ever speak to anybody else. So that's it. And then the guy leaves, and it's like, oh fuck, I have all this amazing footage. He did finally say, the guy at Spectrum was like, Adam, you can release the reel. I mean, if the Lakers might tell you to take it down, and then in my mind, I'm like, well then, sweet. That means they saw it. Like please cease and desist to me. I'm happy to share this kind of stuff.
Well, I still think it's got to be. It's
got to be Jeannie and Linda. Those are the only people that could.
Yeah, but like even we've talked about this before. Like it maybe it needs to be a player who's got his brand.
Oh yeah, well obviously, yeah. Good luck
getting wants to do his own thing.
Sure, LeBron. Sure, Maverick Carter.
Sure. I mean, that's like the top of the. But there are other guys too.
But that's the other thing. Like, how easy it would be to make a reel of LeBron and his kid the first time they put their uniform on. Yeah. I mean, that shot of him doing their special handshake and he's saying enjoy it. Like, dude, that's like he has no idea that even exists.
Yeah.
right? So that's where my brain is just like, oh, how do you get this to happen? It's so frustrating. Anyway, we do that. I shoot the Intuit stuff, and then the Hansen thing, which is where
that falls through.
Well, falls through. They never saw it.
Oh,
I
you did
fly
shoot it
out,
and they never saw it?
I, on my own dime, I fly out to New York. I shoot the whole thing. The guy's like, we're going to be back in L.A. a month later. And I'm like, awesome. And he's like, yeah, we're too busy.
Was it more embarrassing that it was Hansen?
As a musician, they're actually extremely talented. Like they're really, really talented. And they have a fan base that is so loyal. They would have eaten this up. Like, they would have made actual money. Because I saw a bunch of middle-aged women intense waited overnight to see them, and I'm like, that shit doesn't happen when you're a 43-year-old mom. Like, so they have a really interesting section of diehard fans. This was a perfect like, this is it. This would, if they release it, and that's been the problem. I can put it on my channel, nobody gives a fuck about that. These actual people have to. Taylor Swift has to release something like this. Sabrina Carpenter did something on Meta. Okay? And I was like, cool, let's see what this is. 3 static cameras, far away, bored out of your mind within fucking 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And I'm like, God, they don't get it.
Yeah.
They don't get it. And Sabrina Carpenter didn't release it. Meta released it.
Well,
hidden.
And I mentioned this to you before, like when we were doing the Access show with USC football, the term we always use is fly on the wall. You're flying on the wall. Like no one knows you're there, you're flying on the wall.
Right.
And the stuff that you've shot with some of these teams, like you said, you're almost like
uncomfortable. I shouldn't be here.
I should not
be here.
I shouldn't be seeing this, but this is amazing.
Yeah. And that's what being mobile gets you. The moment you're locked down and there's a light,
right,
everybody acts different.
Things change.
Everything changes, and that was kind of what was interesting about the Dodgers shoot, right? Like, they knew they were on stage, and there was what was cool though is I'm stepped back and you can see all the ants running, right? This camera here, this camera there, and then of course following them in or following them out. That's the stuff that feels like ooh.
And the fans who go to the games who see the stuff on the board, they're like,
oh, that's how they
made that. Oh, that was just in a tent in Arizona.
Yeah.
And we talked about this too, like when you went into the TV production truck.
Yes, and my favorite.
Like, oh, okay. Well, that's how they do that. Wow, that's interesting.
Well, and for whatever reason, because of this camera, it wasn't like a normal documentary where you're like, I think I can see. Oh no, you can see. That is shot 2. That is shot 7.
Right.
This is the main, and once you start to understand it, I found it odd that the guy at the Clipper said he was so bored of that, and I was like, no, you don't get it, dude. Yeah. Now, the fans won't be. And how do you get these suits to take their heads and remember what it was like to be 9?
Yeah, and I think part of that was, I think sometimes they get, where they're like, well, it's our product on the court. Well, yeah, of course. That's why we're there doing the game. But, at the same time, like, having been doing this a while, when you actually get in the truck and you see what those guys do,
right,
and you're like, wow, these guys are really talented.
They're extremely talented.
And they're doing all this on the fly and making split-second decisions like this, and they don't miss a beat.
Well, you know what I thought of? I was like, if I was them, I'd want to show some of that to my wife.
Yeah.
And the reason is because I'd want them to know why I'm so fucking exhausted.
Right. Now you know
when I get home.
Now you know when I come home why it takes me 2 hours to
right. Because
sleep. Yeah.
There is this unbelievable energy that you can't explain to your significant other. And
the thing is like, it used to be, I don't want to say it used to be worse, but back in the day, like when I started, it used to be a lot louder. There was a lot more yelling. I mean, my
really?
my boss used to direct. He used to yell at us if we didn't yell. Like, he wanted everybody yelling and being loud. And I used to tell, we'd have production assistants or interns come to get him experience in the truck, and I tell them, like, look, it's a little different in here.
How thick is your skin?
If it gets too weird, let me know, and I'll get you out of here. I go, but there's going to be yelling, and they're going to be, you're going to hear stuff you probably aren't going to want to hear, or you may not want to hear. If you let me know.
That was the funniest part about putting that in the clip, is I had to be like, well, I can't put that in. Oh shit, nope, got to cut that. Right. I got to, because they're not saying very nice things about each other.
Yeah, and that's a lot. That's toned down. So yeah, it's different. And then I had another buddy of mine who passed away, but anyway, he used to always say, like, it was like going in a submarine, because it's dark and there's lights.
Oh, it's so cool.
And you see what's going on, and you're in this confined space, and people are huddled in there, and everybody is working together, and it's like a symphony.
Oh, I love
You
it.
know,
Yeah.
it kind of, everyone just knows what to do and interacts, and it just kind of flows.
It's funny. Everybody thinks that I must just want to be a one-man crew. No, I'd love to. I love that connection and the teamwork. I just happen to have. I picked something that is quite isolating, and my isolation is actually why it's working, because I can do it so easily.
They didn't even know. I mean, they saw you, but they're like, I didn't care.
Right. Yeah.
And I remember thinking back again when I was with the other company. It's like, you know, you could put this up. I know we're not big on static cameras, but you could put this up in the truck, and people would watch this
live.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Now, I think your directors would have a problem with it. Because they would feel as if you have to watch everything they're saying.
But most trucks now, a lot of trucks now, have a snoop cam anyway.
But it's not live to the fucking public.
No, it's not.
You know.
But, you know, as long as you tell them, like, hey, don't worry about what you're doing here. I mean, unless you're gonna, you know.
Right, but they were talking shit
like
about like a camera guy,
right.
That kind of stuff, and I'm like, well, you don't want to start some shit between the camera guy and the director, and you know.
That doesn't happen.
No, there was. I think what it was we don't choose our shots here. You do what I say,
right.
And it was like, oh shit, that's gonna make somebody feel bad. I'm gonna take that out.
Well, that's why they call him the director,
right? But that's what a great example of. I've been on both sides of that. I've been on the director's side. I've been on the cameraman side, going, "Oh fuck, I fucked up. That was stupid."
Yeah.
You know, I was just trying to show some initiative. No, not the time to do that.
Yeah.
You do what I tell you to do.
Yeah. No, I've done it on the producing side too. Like, okay, that's on me. That was my mistake. My bad.
Right.
So.
Good shit, man. But yeah, who knows what the future holds? You seem to think it's good. But I think it changed when when you were no longer working at FanDuel. You said, I think my wife gets it now. What happened? Did you have a conversation? Did she watch something that she hadn't seen?
I don't know, maybe it was because I didn't have a job.
She's like, okay, you better go on, keep going with it.
So tell me about this.
Yeah, right.
No, I mean, I think when I told her about the Ohtani shot, and she's a Dodger fan,
right?
And you know, she grew up here, and she knows Ohtani's big, you know, and he might be the biggest thing to ever hit LA, which is amazing.
Crazy.
Consider, you know, Magic Johnson and, you know, Shaq and Kobe.
Internationally, he's obviously the big, like.
Yeah, he's huge, and so yeah, she's like, well, tell me more about this. What are you guys doing? I'm like, well, you know, we're trying to get a break and trying to put something together. Yeah. But you know, like we said, it may not be. We think it has legs with teams, but it may be an individual. It may be a player. It may be a brand. It may be a company. It may be, we've talked about it could be entertainment. You know, it could be something like that.
I mean, I can't imagine. The LA Kings got it. They're like, we want to do this. When do we do this next?
Yeah.
So, like, there was that, I want to be first. That fell through because somebody above somebody was like, nah, we're too busy. So...
Yeah,
like,
I think it works for hockey because I think hockey's always looking for that different. Hockey needs to find that different experience. It needs to stand out.
Yeah,
you know. And I've told you this with hockey. Hockey very much becomes like the term they use a lot is our game. Well, we don't want to affect our game. You know, like, okay, well, you got to get past that.
Baseball's like that too, to a degree, right?
A little bit.
They're a little.
Yeah, they've gotten more progressive in the last few years. NBA obviously is very aggressive.
Yeah.
NFL
obviously very aggressive.
NFL is, you know, I mean, they're like, I don't want to say they're like the mafia, but they control everything. Yeah. So, you know, they can do whatever they want. But yeah, I mean, some of those other sports I think can need to be a little more aggressive.
Is there any way now that you're not with FanDuel that you could even go back to the Kings, or would they have to get an agreement with FanDuel again?
No, I think we could. I think we could. I think it's worth readdressing with them, and showing them again. It's like the one thing I remember. Luke Robitaille, who I think looked at it.
No, not with me. Well, you went by yourself one time without me.
Okay, yeah. And this is one of the things I was going to mention to you. But Luke Robitaille, who grew up, you know, Kings legend, and he grew up in Montreal. But he always talks about, I remember he's mentioned a couple times to me, the experience of going to a Saturday night game in Montreal. Mm-hmm. It's like, you know, as a kid, that was like the greatest, right? And I thought that's what you did a good job of capturing at that Kings game. It wasn't necessarily a Saturday night, but it was the ambiance of going to a game in the arena and just the buzz.
The buzz, right? The feel. The sound. It sounds different.
Right. And that to me is like, because everyone says hockey doesn't really translate on TV.
Where does it translate in this?
Right,
dude. Yes.
When you're at the event.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that this does a better job of that.
Yeah. And it really is funny. I wouldn't have known it. I would have told you. I probably did tell you. There's no reason to get anything during the game, right? I didn't.
Except that one shot in the corner, or that shot in the corner.
Until I did it, and then I realized, oh no! If money, like there should be 2 cameras always there to grab the highlights, because, again, the scratches on the glass, which would not work flat because it looked like something's on your TV, work perfectly in VR because you can go like this.
And the audio.
Oh, and it just felt. And then the speed, and then when, of course, I got people actually hitting the glass, and you go back. I could not believe how present it felt. But that was also, that can't be a static camera. That's the other thing people realize. That door opens, right? You got to be able to move and bring it. Like, there is no. It's such a bigger ask to ask the people at the arena. Oh, can we permanently, or at least for the game, set this up? Oh, like that's when it gets. That's when people get weird, and that's when, like, I don't know.
Some liabilities happen.
It's a huge liability, right?
Yeah.
So,
but when you're there and you get some of it, and you're offering it as part of the experience, and it's a little this and a little that.
Oh my God, it's.
You know, the amazing thing about hockey to me is, like, you know, having done some, you know, pregame shows, is like, you know, you go down before the game. And I was telling you this, like, you'll see guys, you know, in the grinder, like working on their sticks, or
or the guy in the hallway. Remember with the balls?
Right.
They were doing that thing.
All
like,
the behind the scenes stuff
shit
with
is
them
amazing.
that they're getting ready for the game, and there you'll see a guy on a bike who'll ride a bike for 45 minutes before the game to get warmed up.
Right.
You know, that's the stuff with hockey that I think people could appreciate more. And then, like you said, you get in that corner and you see the speed, and you see how hard they hit and how hard they're working. And again, the sound, the slap of the puck, you know, the sticks breaking, shit like that. It's like, it's amazing, and that's why going to a hockey game is so cool.
Yeah,
you know?
and it's totally different than
totally different.
Yeah,
and this is, you know, that's what that captured there.
Right.
So yeah, I do think we can show that to them again. And again, we're always trying to find just that right time.
All right. Up next, we gotta keep bugging our USC people.
Yeah, we set up the SC thing, and then
like, I'm to the point where I can't bug anybody anymore. So you have a little bit more leverage. You get to, if you want to fuck with the Clippers, you can say something to them. If you want to talk to, but I can't say anything. I sit and wait patiently and pray I have something to do other than be a good dad and husband.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's just I think we'll circle back to some of these people and keep hitting them up on stuff. And I think we've opened some eyes. I think it's trying to connect the dots for them.
I think what the good news is everybody who sees it is like, okay, well, this is not at all what I thought it was going to be. This is way better, you know. And I think you plant those seeds for a while. So it's almost like going through a divorce and talking to all the attorneys to fuck your wife over. Let me finish this analogy. It's like all my divorces have been very, very kind and amicable. I was thinking of The Sopranos because that's what Tony did to Carmela. But what we're doing is, I think we're planting the seeds with all these people. So when another production company decides to show them something, they'll be like, "Oh, this is like that virtual presence thing I saw last year." That's the hope. That's the only thing I can hope that works, because, again, once one person does it, it's just gonna. It's such an easy thing to scale and turn into, like, that's how we watch the stories that surround sports, you know.
Yeah.
And that's such a big thing. I think people forget that with TikTok and the live game. Yeah, that's always going to be there. But you know how many people want to watch the warm-ups? They don't think they do because they've only ever seen them on their phone. But put those headset on and you're watching Luka, like, there it is, man.
Yeah. No, I agree. And I think, you know, like I said, the Dodger stuff with Ohtani and the Japanese market for that.
They're like the Beatles. By the way, we hear about Mookie? What the fuck?
Yeah.
Did they figure anything out about him?
I guess he's feeling better. He played last night.
Oh, he did play.
Yeah.
Because I was that poor guy. He's like, I've lost 20 pounds. Can't eat anything.
I can't imagine losing 20 pounds. Well, I can imagine losing 20 pounds.
I mean, he lost 20 pounds since I saw him at spring training.
Right.
Like, he looked gaunt.
Right.
He must be eating now. He must be. They wouldn't have put him on the court.
I guess
field.
he can get smoothies down, but I don't know if it's solid food yet. But yeah, that's scary.
Sounds like he has mono.
Yeah, who knows? You would think he's had every test in the book as it is. They're going to find out what it is. But,
that's just terrifying.
But I can't imagine. I was really surprised when I saw him playing last night. Like, yeah, I wouldn't be playing. But I guess they got to give him some innings before opening day if they want him to get out there.
Wow.
So
crazy stuff. They'll be fine either way. I was joking with the Dodgers guy. I'm like, they're like, oh, Tani's not going to pitch right away. And I'm like, oh.
We'll be okay?
Yeah, I think you guys are going to be okay. You're only the most favorited team that has ever started a season in the history of Major Leagues. Like, I've never seen anything like this. Like, they are so stacked. It is like a foregone conclusion.
Yeah, they've done a great job.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
How and that's the other problem is, like, we had to pick the biggest team ever, right?
Well,
like it's like the Bulls in the '90s. And hey, by the way, excuse me, can you look at my video, please?
I know someone at Yes Network who would look at it.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, it just made so much sense with Ohtani and what their fan base has done. It's just blown up.
I just can't believe I'm sitting on a reel with Ohtani and LeBron.
And even last year, like when we tried to get for the 50-50 day.
Yeah.
And bastard broke it on the road,
Right, he did. Yeah.
And then that kind of like, screwed us there a little bit, and that not that he hadn't blown up, but he blew up even more, and they're like, okay, wait a minute, we don't need any more cameras out here.
Yeah.
Which it's kind of talking about, like, I get it, I get what they're saying.
Right.
By
the way, what happened to the guy we were supposed to eat and to hang out at your place and to figure the who?
He wants to do tomorrow, but tomorrow's not good for me.
Oh, okay.
So.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. So.
Why are you going to the game, aren't you?
No.
Oh.
I'm getting my garage door fixed.
Oh, it's not anywhere near as fun.
No.
Okay, fuck.
I've been to enough opening days, but yeah. So we'll reschedule that. But yeah, I'd want him to look at it too.
Right. It is funny the amount of people like, have this guy look at it, have this guy look at it, and I'm just like, okay.
No, I got more too.
Yeah, I know you do, dude.
I got I'll show it if I can. That's why I brought my glasses. You can get me better on the setup, but I'll show it to anyone. I bring those with me, and I'm like, hey, you got a second? Check this out.
Yeah.
I just wanted to see it.
Okay, can we talk about an investment?
No,
I'm the three.
I'm unemployed.
Okay,
no.
You're unemployed.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll.
My wife would kill me. No.
Okay, then I'll find a. Maybe see if I can find a copy.
Okay. They'll be okay.
He's on the Quest 2, and it just doesn't look as good. And I feel like you need to show it to him on a certain thing, but that's just me.
It opens enough eyes on the Quest.
Oh yeah, it does. Obviously, that's
they see it and they're like, okay, that's cool. No, so we gotta stay on the SC thing. We'll see what the Dodgers say.
It kills me.
We'll circle up with some of these other people we've talked to before and see if there's any interest there. But I think we're making headway. We need a break.
Yes,
we'll get it.
I mean, we've gotten a break. We just need people to see. That's the weirdest thing about this. Last thing I'm going to say is like to be sitting on it and know we did it. Like Petros, he did the audition. Like, oh, that's it. He did it. Well, but there was already a space for him to enter.
Yeah.
That's what's so hard about this. It's like not only did we do it, we've got it. It's perfect. Oh, you got to recreate your entire fucking company and change the course of what you're like. That's why this is so difficult. Like you can knock it out of the park, but the sport hasn't been invented, right? So it's like fuck.
And like I said, like to hang their neck out there. They're like, well, it's like that high school minister. Well, I'm worried about my pension. It's well, yeah, I know, but this is like the next thing. So.
Yeah, and again, enough people. There's going to be somebody that has the same balls that you did, right? And they'll just go, okay, we got to show it to. Like I'm stunned. The lady at the Lakers wasn't like, okay, I have to show this to. You know what I mean? Like,
well, I think
Oh my god,
we always check that. If LeBron saw it,
yes,
LeBron would be like, oh, just buy the company.
No, immediately he would literally say, okay, you're following me now. Right? You're just following me now.
Because that's all the guy does.
Because
create content for himself, around himself.
No,
but I mean, like, that's...
Right. He's not a big LeBron fan, and we get in fights about this all the time.
But that's something that you absolutely have to say he's the greatest at. Is he's been the greatest at creating his own, marketing his own brand, on the business side, like no one else.
Yeah.
Well, and I give him complete credit for that. He's, whoever he's had around him has figured that out. So yeah, I don't blame him. I would do the same thing.
Sure.
And there's other athletes like that too.
Yeah.
That want to be unique and want to be cutting edge.
God, is there really no way to... I feel like if you talk to any single people attached to him, not him, just anybody, if you showed anybody involved in that production company LeBron and his kid and say he's never seen this before, they would immediately want him to see it.
Yeah.
So who do we fucking show it to? Like, how is this hard, dude? I know
a lot of people. I don't know him.
I know, but you don't have to know him. You don't even have to know Maverick Carter. You need to know the fucking receptionist at the goddamn office building. Like,
Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll's close.
Yeah, Pete Carroll's close to LeBron?
Well, Pete Carroll's close to someone who has the ability.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. He said, we're doing this.
To see something and be like, let's go.
They were doing it. Yes, That was amazing. That was an incredible, I think it was incredible. I was told secondhand. I have to believe it's incredible. But I still feel like when we get a phone call next month, they're like, they would decide to go a different way. I just, that's
the business.
They're just like.
It could be.
Okay.
We'll deal with it when it happens, though.
Yeah. And all of us are talking about this because we have to say this to our wives later. Right? Because all my concerns, they're my concerns, but they're also, I got to tell the missus, so here's what's happening next. She's like, really? I thought that was happening on April 7th. No, it got pushed. He had all the dates wrong. How could he have all the dates wrong? Doesn't he know when? Well, he doesn't really, but I'm pretty sure, like...
Wait, don't tell me.
Well, you got to tell her something. I haven't had a fucking paycheck in 2 years. Yeah, you got to say something. You haven't had a paycheck in... Dude, no, you still have your paycheck. And your wife's asking you some questions. Imagine going a couple fucking years. You
wouldn't have a wife.
Right. I have the sweetest wife of all time.
Yeah. I hear you.
Jesus Christ. That's why you're like, we'll go to the fucking horse races and we'll have you shoot this thing and then we'll and I'm like, okay, dude, that's awesome.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to whore you out.
I'll do it
for $1 anymore.
I'll do it, but it costs me $1,000 sometimes just to do this favor. It's like there are no business expenses when you don't have income. That's not a write-off. If you gotta have something.
You wouldn't have to fly there.
Okay. The flying wasn't the hard part.
I give you gas.
It was the hotel and the fucking Ubers and the food, and it's like, ugh.
We'll pay for your gas money.
Oh my god, I feel like I'm 18. This is like, it feels like when I was trying to get into radio and shit. It's like, god damn it, dude, I'm 50. I'm too old for this shit, man. I got a mortgage, a wife, and 2 kids. Okay.
Oh, and there's a lot more of these. Please check out my other VR logs and subscribe and comment. It means the world to me.